Hi everyone, welcome to Tom's Man Shed. Okay, so this video is about using a Logitech Brio, an old Brio I've just bought off eBay. I think it was about 50 quid. I'll put it on the bottom here, what it was. Been out quite a while now, but still a great camera, and they are 4K. One of the few webcams that are 4K. A lot of modern stuff, very, very expensive now, is 4K, including the one I'm using now, which is an Insta 360 Link. I'll show you some of the fantastic things that can do in a second. But the reason I've just brought this Brio is to do overhead shots, and particularly close-up overhead shots. Now, like I say, I've been using, before I got even these, and I was using my Canon M50, I was setting it up on a tripod over me desk here. But the good thing about the Insta 360 Link is it's got a overhead, a desk view. It calls it a desk view, which it's really clever. I'll show you that in a second. But amazing camera, this. Like I said, I've done a full review on it. Click up here if you want to see the full review on the Insta 360 showing in detail. But some of the few things it can do is, at the moment, I haven't got the tracking on. As you can see, it's not tracking me. And you can turn that on manually by the control panel, or tap it twice, I think, or you can, don't always work this, let's see if it does. Hold, here we go, never works when you want it to do. Yeah, right, hold your thing up, and now it's on tracking. You can see it's tracking my head, and if I go up or go down, and if I want to turn the tracking off, just hold my hand up again. That is now off. It's got a zoom, again a hand control. Hey, works first time. I can zoom up or zoom out. I shall go manually and put that out. It's also got, you can have pre-selected zones it will go to. So that's on me. If I click 2, that zooms in on me 3D printer behind me. So it moves and zooms in. That moves to the pictures by the doorway. And this one moves to what this video is about, which is this, the Logitech Brio, which I will be using for close-up shots. I will be using it on this articulated arm that I've printed on the 3D printer. Again, I'll be showing you all that in detail. As you see, it does wobble a bit, but because it's mounted to the shelf, once that has settled down, it only takes a minute to settle down, I can disturb the desktop as much as I like, and it won't affect the picture. So, as I said, this camera, it has a desktop view, and I've been using that for all my videos so far. But the one thing that the trouble with it is, and like I say, it's really clever the way it does it. It tilts the camera down. Like I say, you can't see it happening now, but see, that's the trouble. You see, if I'm waving my hands around, it'll start doing it. So I'm going to turn them off in a minute after I've shown you this. But if I want to do like a presentation of an object in front of me here, it's looking down at an angle of about 45, but it manipulates the picture so it looks like it's from above. But in doing that, it distorts whatever you're taking. It's hard to explain. I'll show you in a second, it's easier. But particularly like your fingers, they end up looking really long. So if we go on to desktop view now, it'll sort of like focus on my lap. So there we are, desktop view. There's my microphone. You can see this can of Coke. You can see how long it looks. And it's a very good simulator, because I'm holding my hands in front of me now. But you can see how long my fingers look. And the can of Coke, if I tilt it, it's not as if it's seen directly from above. There's no way it can do that. But as I tilt it to the camera, you can see it's like an oval shape, not the round. So you do get distortions. And I made myself this little white thing to put there and then I can put a mat on top and do a presentation. So that's what I've been using so far. And so far so good, but I fancied getting it a bit more accurate. And as you'll see, because the camera is like 2 foot away, at least 2 foot away from the area in front of you, if you fully zoom in, you lose a lot of resolution. So it's no good for really, really, really good close-ups, really fine close-ups, which the Brio is, because as this is, it can focus very close. As you see, I've hold my hand now just inches in front of it. The Brio can focus within like 2 inches, as I'll show you, and get really good close-ups in 4K. So before we go any further and I show you all them details, I'll just show you the setup I've got. If you want to skip it and just get to actually using the Brio as a very, very close-up, almost microscope camera, just use the timeline below and skip all the unwanted bits. But I'll show you now a bit I filmed earlier on of the situation I've got now and what I have to do. So I filmed it from a camera behind me, DJI Osmo little GoPro type camera, and I just used the sound. I didn't rig up me DJI wireless mic or anything like that. I just used the built-in mic on the Osmo. So apologies for the sound. It does sound a bit echoey, but it more than suffices for what we need. So let's have a look at that now. Okay, so this was how I used to film any overhead shots. What I had to do was, because the Insta 360 camera there in its like overhead mode, and if I'll show you that, I'll flick it into that overhead desk view mode, they call it. So as you can see, that is like focused there. So what I had to do was pull this bit of curved thing to extend that bit, and then swing this round. I rig these supports up, put that there, and then I could put me that bit there that I always used to do the things on top of, and then I could crop that after. It was a matter of trying to get it lined up as well, because the Insta 360 on the top of the monitor is fixed, and if you can see, it's a fantastic, don't get me wrong, it's a fantastic idea. That thing there coming here is giving you like an overhead view. It's amazing how it does it, but it's not quite true. You can see how long my fingers look there. The perspective is wrong. So if you're doing something like say text, you can see it's like stretched out a bit. It's not, that's pointing, as you can see, direct at the camera now, at the Insta 360, and it's making it a bit thing. So what I thought, like I said, what this video is about is it's a lot easier to do, not to do easier, with this setup. And as you can see here, I've got the Brio, and I'll show you some shots through the Brio later, and this articulated arm that I printed on my 3D printer. It's on printables. Again, I'll put a link below, but again here I can position this anywhere from there to there at any sort of height, and the perspective will be absolutely bang on. And on here, I'll zoom into this bit again, printed this swivel, GoPro swivel joint, so you've got full articulation. I should loosen them off backwards and forwards so I can line things up absolutely perfectly. And now all I've got to do is put that there, and I've got all this area, and I can sit here and you won't see any of my body, and I'm not having to rig this extra bit up with sharp edges that I can snag my t-shirt on or whatever, and I can position it anywhere I like on my desk in front of me. So that's the idea. And you've got a 4K camera with its own zoom control, same as that. and I should hopefully, I'll show you some comparison shots in a bit of the two cameras. So, well, that's my idea. So hopefully that shows you. This is the setup. That's the mic I use. I'm using just the built-in mic now on the Osmo, DJI Osmo, that I'm looking at now and filming this on. Didn't bother ringing up my DJI radio mic or anything. It's good enough for this bit, so that's just the Osmo there. I've got me, again, I've done a review on this, which for my situation is better than a cantilever arm. You've got up and down, backwards and forwards, ball joint there, and at the end of the day I can just stick it totally away under there like that. Got my sockets there, my ALEXA there, my little sand sculpture that my daughter's bought me for my birthday 3 or 4 days ago, pen holder, so you can see everything I've got. Some of the stuff I printed, the PC I built 4 years ago, still a really good spec PC. So yeah, that's what I'll be using now. Oh yeah, almost forgot to tell you. Also, I printed this on the 3D printer. What I did was put a bit of steel under that shelf there, and I made this disc. It's the first sort of thing I've designed. It says it's just a disc with indentations and magnets, but I did all that in Bamboo Studio, and that was what I was going to use originally, sort of with that clamp to there, and again the same sort of idea, but it does wobble a bit more than this. There is some wobble in this, but once it's settled down, because it's screwed to the shelf above, it's fine. I can vibrate the table all I like, and the picture won't wobble, only if I sort of vibrate the shelf. But I thought on this one I could probably position a light using the light on the top of the... I'll take it off, I'll show you what I mean. So this light, which was just on top of the Osmo, I can put on there, and then if you like, I can attach that there, and I've got a light for here. The light above here, I don't know whether you can see it, turn it on for you. This is the light I use when I'm filming the headshots for these videos, facing me there. So yeah, you see, pretty much set up now for much better overhead shots using the Brio. So as you can see, once I've finished with it, it all goes there folded up. It's dead easy, you can just swing that round. That's bolted through the shelf there. Loosen these off. And as you can see, you can swivel it round, and like I said, this head is totally articulated. I can get it at any angle. And then when I've finished, look like that. Of course, I could have used an articulated arm, like a cantilever, like a, you know, an angle poise type stand there, but it wouldn't swing back there totally out of the way. It'd catch my monitor, and being metal, I could scratch my screen. I have tried it. There's no way I could fit it in there on the desktop, and it fold totally out the way. And again, the same with that. I can just swivel it round to hold the light if I need be above, and then put it back round, and that drops down there behind the monitor. And yeah, as you can see, pretty compact, not getting in the way at all. So I hope you like that little tour of my very meagre, confined, small film studio. So yeah, as I said just then, that's this is my tiny little studio. It'd be great if I had a different building to do all these videos in, with all the camera set up like proper YouTubers, but no, this is this is my shed. So you just saw it there. I made this arm, and it's, again, I'll put details below in the description where to find it on printables or Thingiverse or whatever. But it's a great arm. So I printed all in black and white PETG, and there's 3 of these. So they go up, down, swing out, turn round, and that is the Brio there on the end of it. So you can see, I even printed a little lens cover. So that's that. So that's how it goes, and the holder and everything. And like I said, this bit here is a swivel mount. So you can turn it that way, and with these knobs up and down and left and right, you can turn it every which way you like. And it's got a range of movements. So I can have this about, as you'll see in a minute, about 15 inches, 40 centimeters above my desktop, where the object will be, to give me quite a wide view. And you've got the zoom in and out as well. Or, again, as you'll see later, you can have this really close to your object. It'll focus from about 2 inches away and get really good close-ups. Again, all I'll show you now. So let's have a look at, first of all, the highest setting and see what sort of view you get from that. And you'll see that the perspective on this doesn't change like I showed you on that coat cam, because this is actually above and not using software to give you that illusion. You get a really good, perfect picture. So let's have a look at that now. So that's how high it is now to give this shot. So as you can see, it's 40 centimeters, and as you can see, that's a pretty wide shot. I could crop a lot of it in, and if I zoom in on that, that's how close that gets me. So I'd probably do it to about there, and I can crop it around. I don't have to move the camera. But you can see now, here, my hands, they actually look properly in perspective. If I hold some text, so this, and my fingers, if I zoom in a bit, see at all times it's an actual true vertical down picture. Whereas if we switch straight to the Insta, I'll reposition that how I would have it. And zoom in a bit. Again, great quality picture, but you can see as I tilt it, it does give it that like stretched perspective. But like I said, still very, very clever. And if I go on full zoom, that is maximum zoom. So if we bring the pad in, I'll go on to manual focus, and you can see because we're on that full digital zoom, we can't get this as close to the lens in overhead mode. We are losing a lot of resolution. You can see that text, you can hardly read it. So as I explained there, it's not too bad, and the way it works, like I say, is real magic. On wider shots, you can probably get away with a lack of perspective in that. But if you did want to do a really, really, really close up of, say, a circuit board, that's probably what most YouTubers will be wanting to do a very close up of, because the camera is here, and it's got all the way here to go, like I say, 2 foot. You're zooming in fully, so you're losing all its cropping in. Even though it's a 4K video, you're cropping right in and you lose all that quality. So as you saw there. So let's have a look at the difference that you can get with the Brio, because I've got it about, I would think at this stage, about 3 or 4 inches. We'll go even closer in a bit, but this is about 4 inches or so above the circuit board. So let's see how much better it looks now. So this is how high the Brio is above the circuit board at the moment. So you can see only about sort of 4 inches or so. That's the picture you're seeing now. And I can zoom in even further, so as you can see, it's not quite as close as the microscope, but it's pretty close. Being 4K, I can get some really, really good close-ups. Let's try some really tiny components. So that's just for comparison, a ballpoint pen. So yeah, pretty close up. I'm hitting the table now, and because it's attached to the shelf, it isn't altering it too much. As I move this around, it's not causing any camera wobble whatsoever, which it would that close up if it was clamped to the desk. So I wondered how close it would go, how absolutely close, and I got it, the Brio, to within, as you'll see in a minute, about 2 inches. That's how close it will focus, and then you can zoom in digitally from there. So I wondered what would be a good thing to try and get under really high magnification like that. So I thought I'll try this hypodermic syringe. Now, the only reason I've got this, I don't have diabetes and I'm not on drugs or anything, is it came with this, which is the little thing I mentioned earlier. My daughter's bought me this. I don't know why. Always fascinated me having one of these. So they bought me one of these. It's one of them sand sculpture things. As it goes down, it forms these things. And you can inject air, withdraw it from this thing. So that's why I've got one of them. Now, if I hold it up to the Insta and I go on manual focus, the closest I can get, I thought it'd be a good one because there's a little slit in there, but that is about the closest it'll focus there, and that's about 4 inches away from the lens. And if I then go on zoom, I can zoom in on that, and you can see the slit there in it, but it's not quite as clear. I know I'm moving it around, but it's not quite as clear as it was with the Brio. So let's have a look at that now under the Brio and see how close we can get up on that. And this is about as close as it'll focus. You can see very, very close. We've only got, say, 2 inches above the subject it's focusing on, and this is what it is seeing from that close. See the tip of this hypodermic. You can actually see the slit in it. I'm trying hard not to move it too much, but it's so close. But yeah, you can see the slit down the middle of it, and that's my finger for comparison. So yeah, pretty impressive really. So it's not a microscope, ballpoint pen for comparison. So as you saw there, pretty close up of that hypodermic. You can even see the slit in it. Now, like I say, it's not a microscope, but it's very, very close. Like I say, really, really close-ups. But if you're curious what the microscope compared to it is, I took some shots as well of the same circuit board with this Andon Star microscope. Now, I did a full review of this. Check out the card above here if you want to see a full review of that. Really great. You can record videos, stills, hook it up to your PC, whatever. And you've got a various range of focus up and down when you turn the knob. So let's have a quick look at the video from the microscope now. So you can see there, and that's the microscope on minimum focus. That's the smallest I can get, that same component that I took with the other two. On full in, that's how close you can get. And that's the logo on the top of it. And just above that component is this G1. I'll show you that in a minute, held up to the Insta camera. Number G1, just to show you how small it is on the circuit board, and some little pins above it, little solder blobs above. So yeah, really, really close up, obviously, being a microscope. That G1, the G1 you saw is just there below my finger. That's what you saw, and then solder blobs above were them. So you can see how close you can get. Now, the microscope does just output 1080p. It's not 4K. You can get 4K microscopes, but that's ample for me. But what I thought I'd do is put the three pictures. I've just taken a screen grab from each one. One from the Insta 360 link on desktop mode on full zoom. Then the Brio next to it, as close as I could get on full zoom. And then the microscope. So let's have a look at them side by side now, and I'll show you how you can zoom in on the Brio being a 4K picture close up and still not lose much resolution. So let's check that out now. Okay, so from that little montage of screen grabs from the three cameras, again, we've got the Insta 360 link in desktop view mode on full zoom here on the left. We've got the Brio on full zoom with it positioned just about 2 inches above the circuit board in the middle. And we've got the one from the Microsoft on the right. Now you can see the one from the microscope, we're not going to need to zoom in any further on that. That's more than you'd normally use. But it's just to show each one on its full zoom. But the one on the left, you can see, because it's so far away from the subject, and also because of the manipulation it's doing of the image to make it look like it's been filmed from above, you're definitely going to lose some resolution. So even though it is in 4K, it's because it looks so blurred because it is on full zoom from so far away, and that is losing you loads and loads of resolution, like I say, along with the manipulation of it, the algorithm or whatever they use to make it look like it's from above. But the one in the middle, the Brio, again in 4K, and because it's in 4K and filmed so close, even on full zoom, we can zoom in a lot on that and not really lose much resolution. So if we zoom in now on that, I'll just alter the scale of that. You can see we're up to now, if you look on the left, top left there, we're at 300% scale. And it's still, a usable image, that ain't too bad at all. Whereas if we swing over to the left on that, you can see that's totally unusable. And the one from the microscope, because that's only in 1080p, again you're losing loads of resolution. But there, you can see it's not too bad at all. Just a 200% zoom. There, still a pretty good picture. So it just shows you that the Brio can, because it can focus so near to the subject and it's 4K, it can give pretty decent, very, very close-up pictures. So again, yeah, I think you'll agree it is pretty impressive. It will focus a bit closer than the Insta360 Link does, and it'd be impractical for me to take that off and hold it, remount it just to do overhead shots anyway, but it will focus closer. And it is still quite a few years on. How long have it been out? 5-6 years, maybe more. Still a really good camera. I wouldn't have paid the full price for one, but for the 50-60 quid they go for on eBay, I think it's a good option for a good close-up overhead camera. So as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, it is this video just about really using it as an overhead and close-up stroke microscopy type camera. But I thought you might be interested in seeing the difference between the Brio and the Insta360 Link. As a camera for doing this sort of work, I prefer the Insta. I don't use the tracking thing and all that, but I do love the software. I love how, I showed you before, how instantly I can just click around here and select different places. It's fantastic for that. The focus is really, really snappy, and I think the colour looks better as well. Forget the inbuilt mics. I'm not bothered about any of them because I use a separate mic. So like I say, it's not a review on the Brio, but I thought you might like to see it side by side with the Insta. Now the Brio has got a much wider, as you'll see soon, a wider field of view. You can select up to 90 degrees field of view, so you can see how wider this picture will go. But first of all, we'll try it on the focus on the Insta, and I'll just show you how good it is. So it's on autofocus now. As I hold this up to the lens, look how quick that is, and you'll see the background has gone blurred. And as I move it around, you'll see the exposure is not altering. All the colours in the background are staying the same. As soon as I move it away, look how quick it focuses in on me. Move it back to the camera, straight on, bang, away, straight on, bang. So that's the focus and the field of view and the colour of the Insta. Let's have a look at the Brio now. So there's a Brio, so you'll see much wider field of view. If you look on the Brio, right from that extreme is the edge, the opening side of my printer, right through to the Eye of Independence Day on that. If we switch instantly back to the Insta, you can see it only goes to the poster next to it, not even onto the that poster. So much wider field of view, nice colours and that, but focus nothing like as good. So if I put that up against it now, see it's on. As I move it around as well, if you look in the background at the door behind me, see how the focus is, the exposure is changing as well. So it's going brighter and darker as it tries to focus on that. And see, it's still on me. It won't go as close either. So the autofocus, you see it's still focused behind me. It's not focusing. It did it then, but it is nothing like as good as the Insta360. Look how quick it goes. And the exposure doesn't alter either in the background. So there you have it. You can see the difference. So as a webcam, it wouldn't be my first choice. When it came out, it was probably the best. There are better ones now. But as an overhead camera stroke microscope, very, very close-ups, but not as close as a microscope. I think it's a fantastic camera. As you saw there, the exposure sort of moves a bit as it's trying to focus and zoom in. The colours don't look quite as crisp. It doesn't autofocus very well, really. But none of that matters when you're using it as an overhead camera, because everything's done manually. You'll be in one fixed place. The lighting will be above it. You'll be focusing manually. So none of that matters. And as you saw, it comes up with some really, really nice photos. So that's the one I got. Like I said, I've just got it secondhand off eBay. God knows how old it is. It came without a mount or anything. I didn't need that. I printed all the stuff I needed on my 3D printer to hold it and everything. There's tons of stuff on Thingiverse and printables for that. And it cost me £52.99. So yeah, might be able to get better results from a digital SLR or something, but much bigger, bulkier. This, as you saw, just tucks away to the side. Nothing gets in the way at all. And as you saw, I think the results are fantastic. So yes, I would definitely recommend one as a second camera to your main webcam or your YouTube cam you use for your YouTube videos. An overhead cam, absolutely ideal for. So hopefully this has been of some use. I will put links, like I say, to everything below, to all the files of these arms and that I printed. Well, I didn't show you close up this one quick, did I? I showed you a close up of the main arm I used, but this is what I was going to use originally for it. I made that magnetic base. That just goes under the bit of steel on the bottom of the shelf. And again, you've got these arms. Everything here is printed on thing, but they don't hold quite as firm. The arms that I showed you before have got little ribs round the locking thing, so they hold solid. They're not going to slip. These, under a bit of weight, can slip, but it's fine for the little tiny light that I'll be using. So again, I'll put the links to that on in the description as well. Anything I link to, like the microscope or whatever, on Amazon will be an Amazon affiliate link. So if you do click on that, it won't cost you a penny more, anything you buy from that browsing session. But if you do buy something, I get a small commission. It's only pennies, but it helps to keep this channel going. So again, hopefully it's been of some use. If it has, please give me a thumbs up. If it hasn't, by all means, give me a thumbs down. If you haven't already subscribed and you'd like to, it'd be fantastic. I'm up to 3,250 subscribers now. To me, that's massive. Tiny by most people's standards, I know, but to me, it's great. And I thank every single one of you. So if you haven't already subscribed, please click the picture here of the little shed. I'll be back with another. Oh yeah, I forgot to say, one thing I found out about this is it is very finicky what cable you use and where you plug it. So I was going to add it onto the end of this video, but it's about 30-40 minutes long already. So I'm going to make another video about how you set up the 4K on that. The Insta 360 was much easier, but even using a USB-C cable, C to C, I couldn't select the full 4K resolution. I had to use a proper, reasonably expensive data type USB big A to C cable, and it has to go in a blue USB 3 type port. So I'm going to do a little video about on how to set it all up, just in case you came across the same problems that I did. So I won't call this part 1 and part 2. They're two different things, but keep an eye out for that as well. And hopefully that'll be uploaded very, very soon. So once again, thanks for watching this. Hope to catch you for the next one. Don't forget to click the little picture here. It should have appeared by now if you want to subscribe. And then the bell icon below, and you'll be informed of any new uploads. Catch you for the next one. Bye for now.